airlines around the world are still showing strong demand for a new type of aircraft. Traditionally, there have been two main categories: narrowbody and widebody jets. Narrowbodies, like the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320, are the workhorses of the skies, dominating global fleets and flying short to medium-haul routes. On the other hand, wide-body jets like the Boeing 767 and 777 are twin-aisle aircraft that carry more passengers over longer distances, but now there's growing demand for something in between. Airlines want to fly long-haul routes with fewer passengers, and Boeing once had a plan to meet that demand. What became of that plan is a bit unclear. So, let's dig into the story of the Boeing 797, what it was meant to be and whether Boeing might still build it. On October 28, 2004, Boeing rolled out its last 757 from the factory, which was later delivered to Shanghai Airlines in late 2005. That marked the end of an aircraft once seen as a possible future leader in commercial aviation. Despite its performance and range, airlines gradually lost interest in the 757, believing it didn't quite fit their route networks at the time. The 757, however, was arguably ahead of its time. It was built to serve medium-haul markets with more capacity than a 737 but less than a 767 or 777. For transatlantic routes like Newark to Edinburgh, it was a near-perfect fit. But back in the 90s and early 2000s, airlines weren't yet thinking about using smaller planes on these types of long-haul routes. Fast forward to today, and that exact niche is in high demand. In hindsight, Boeing may have pulled the plug on the 757 too soon. The plane is still flying with Delta and United, which are doing everything they can to keep their aging 757 fleets alive. That's because there's still no true replacement. The 757 is a unique workhorse, able to serve destinations that aren't viable for other aircraft. It has powerful engines for its size, making it great for airports with shorter runways, and it's flexible enough to fly both short domestic routes and transatlantic services. Some wondered if Boeing should have re-engined the 757 like Airbus did with the A320neo and A330neo, both of which revived older models with more efficient engines. But Boeing had already stopped building the 757 in 2004, and bringing the line back would have been costly and logistically overwhelming. According to Flight Global, restarting production was seen as nearly impossible. Even if Boeing had pushed forward, there wasn't a clear next-gen engine available to replace the original Pratt & Whitney and Rolls-Royce options. That led Boeing to consider a clean-sheet design, the Boeing 797, also known as the new Midsize airplane, NMA. The goal was to fill the middle of the market gap between narrow bodies and wide bodies. Initial concepts showed a twin-aisle jet seating, 225 to 275 passengers and flying up to 5,000 nautical miles. It would cost less to operate than wide bodies, while bringing in more revenue than smaller narrow bodies. With advanced composite materials and next-gen engines, the 797 was envisioned as a replacement for both the 757 and 767. The idea first gained traction in 2015. Airlines like United, Delta, and even Emirates showed early interest, and Boeing moved forward with the project, as Aviation Week reported. The design featured an innovative hybrid elliptical fuselage, high bypass engines, and a 30% cost advantage over similar jets. Analysts believed there could be demand for 2,000 to 4,000 aircraft over 2 decades, though development costs were estimated between $15 and $25 billion. Boeing even set up a new office for the program and began engine talks with GE Aerospace, Pratt & Whitney, and Rolls-Royce. But resource constraints, especially those tied to the ongoing 737 MAX crisis, forced Boeing to reassess. By 2019, the company stepped back and began re-evaluating whether the market still wanted this aircraft. So, will Boeing actually build the 797? That's the big question. Given recent challenges to Boeing's safety reputation and mounting financial pressure, it's no surprise that analysts and investors are skeptical. Meanwhile, the Airbus A321XLR has stepped in to meet much of this middle market demand, potentially shrinking the niche that the 797 was meant to fill. At this point, it's unclear if Boeing will move forward with developing the 797 or pivot to a different project entirely. All we can do now is wait and see whether Boeing decides to officially launch this ambitious jet or leave the middle of the market to Airbus.